Oh, for it's because I was muted. Oh, okay. Well, let's just look at that back up. Okay. Well, hello everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing good this evening. A little bit of tomfoolery from me to start the stream, but and I'm hoping that it'll be the last one. And if you're new here, hopefully you are going to stay for a while. We are the Midwest F1 League. We tonight are at Circuit Paul Ricard. Let me just see if I have a track image for that. Oh, I do. Okay, here we go. Let's just get this up for you. You know, I mentally told myself that I needed to do this before I started the stream, but obviously I didn't. Little on the fly. There we go. Stream updating here, but there you go. France Circuit Power Card, Division 1 action. I am back with the Division 1 boys. Just waiting for the lobby to get loaded up and completely ready to go. But while we have a couple of minutes, we have plenty of talking points to get to here. First being what was last Thursday, and we were with Division 2 in Baku. So you can see your podium there. Jonathan Dunkerwin with Edgar second place and a Tiger NASCAR third place, and what that did to the standings. Whoa. Why are things being weird to me today? There you go. What that did to the standings was saw NFS light work up at the top, followed by Texas Speech and Mitch Burns. I'll give you all a second there for you to read for yourself what is going on in the Division 2 world. But some very exciting stuff. Division 2 is as feisty as it's ever been. As well, the Constructors' Championship also being extremely tight, with Williams only having a 9-point gap on the team ahead. And then going down the order, we see McLaren in third. Williams, 9 points ahead of Mercedes. We see McLaren in third, tied with AlphaTauri, and then a little bit of a drop off from that on. But still very tight between the top four. And we'll see how that will play out in the future races. Still a lot of races to go. Of course, we're only 4 through. There's so much more fun left to be had. To keep it simple, really looking forward to all the stories that we're going to be getting throughout all the divisions, and of course I'll be trying to give you as much of them as I can, but I can only cast one division a night, unfortunately, and it's going to be a fun ride, and we'll see. I think maybe I'm definitely going to be getting down to at least Division 4, but we'll see where else I go from that point on. But the Division 1 results, which we were not at last week, they were also in Baku, and Ryan Rods ended up taking the win over Mystic Joker, which may be a surprise to some, but Ryan Rods has been up there quite a bit, and he's right now sitting just pull this up, he's sitting in second place actually. So the Aston Martin teammate of Jinnit to Win It is sitting farther up the standings than his counterpart. So Jin's going to have to find some form to try and close the gap on his teammate, as of course even though you are a teammate, you're most direct rival is your teammate. I mean, everyone's got the same cars, but still, you'd like to kind of hang your hat to be the one that claims more points in the end, especially with how tight Jin and Ryan Rods can be on pace. But Ryan's finding the overall consistency right now, and is showing, sitting second. And we may have a potential lead change after tonight because Mystic Joker is actually out in the Alfa Romeo being replaced. Who is he being replaced by? Now it's either going to be Jonathan Dunk or Shelly the Turtle, but Shelly the Turtle hosts Division 2, so I'd imagine it'll be Jonathan Dunk. It is Shelly. Oh, okay. Alright. You're hosting... Oh, you're moved up to Division 2. Oh my god. Alpha's really scraping the bottom of the barrel this evening. But we'll see how it plays out. But right now they are leading the way. Will that stay the same at the end of the night? Dunk is out. Oh wow. Oh, so Division 2 Alpha is completely replaced right now. So here we go. Alpha currently leading right now. Ferrari second. Ferrari just always nipping at their heels, as it seems. They never want to just let Alpha break off into the distance. They always are within a race or something. Mercedes sitting well right now, and still are within striking distance of these two ahead, and may potentially have a chance at moving up actually to the lead after the end of the night. Red Bull, surprisingly, down at the bottom there, having Cake Thomas on their team, one of the more consistent drivers on the grid, as well as having teammate Scuba Steve. So that is a very quick team. That is 10th on the grid right now. So not looking good right now, but things can change. Here we go. And then I'll get you the Tuesday sheet here in a second. It's not used to pulling this one up, so it evades me a little bit, but there you go. The Tuesday full page results sheet for everyone there. We have the individual stats leaders on your right there. The bottom right is the upcoming schedule, as well as the last week's results. Actually, when I say last week's, I mean like last week's, not this past Tuesday. No, there was no race this past Tuesday, because I got free tickets to the Canucks game to see the Oilers play, so I couldn't say no. I had the ability, and I left myself the option to be able for a bye week. Was I expecting to use it so early? No, but you know, sometimes duty calls, and it did this past Tuesday. But we will be back next Tuesday, so fret not. Things will be. And it looks like the lobby's getting readied up now without Shelly. I wonder where Shelly is. But yeah, we will be back Tuesday night. If you enjoy your fix of Team Tuesday racing, then don't worry, I took one day off. We will be back. Right now the team, we're in good morals right now, even though we're sitting at the bottom of the league with the least amount of points. We did pick up our first point against Mark's Funky Bunch via Evil Prime's fastest slap. So the boys are putting in the work in the off the screen. So we'll be getting some pretty good results. We take on Super Bastards next week. Of course, Super Bastards are overall really good, and they have a couple of drivers who tend to get quite a few podiums there, with Jinna Twin and Valentine, 2 podiums in 2 weeks of racing, as well as a win from Jin. So we've got a little bit of our work cut out for us, but you know what? I think we've got it in us. So hopefully some more solid points from Crash's Ashes in future. But like I said, the lobby is up and underway. Just waiting to get it loaded here for Circuit Paul Ricard, and everyone can enjoy what is to come for the evening of racing. Oh, oops. I think it's... do have it. As well. Sorry, I forgot to activate my camera here. But yeah, I'll say hello for a second before we get into the lobby here. Everyone's just loading in. No cars have come out of the pit. Hope everyone's doing good this evening. I have something new to show everyone. I got myself a tattoo, as the Aussies say. So I can't really straighten my arm out that well. But yes, that is a anchor inside a snowflake. And for those that are curious, it is my grandfather. He got an anchor when he was in high school through, stick and ink, and his buddy did it for him. And I've always been infatuated by it since I was a kid. So I wanted to get one similar, and the snowflake is the city logo of Kitimat, where they live, and where I used to go up every summer when I was a kid growing up, so it's very close to my heart. So I couldn't go wrong with that one. So without further ado, a little bit of history for what is... Oh, Mother Ellie's here. Hey, how you doing, Mother Ellie? And there we go. We are in to circuit Paul Ricard, who we're on board with here. I've left my mic unmuted, but now it is muted, so these jackmuffins can't hear me shit-talking them the whole race. Murph and Sally is first to come around here. Yeah, this will be a fun one to ride on board with. Okay, there we go. Murph coming around the final couple of turns. You'll take us over the line for our first hot lap here at Circuit Paul Ricard. Bring up the track map so I don't get lost. And here we go into turn one. Some extend that line a little bit heavier, but take a good portion of that curb and you can take a good bite of the second one, but you got to kind of keep your tires straight or else you're going to lose it. And then into turn three. And once again, a lot of curb can be taken here. But Murph is taking some respective lines right now. Now this is, you can take some alternate angles on this final turnout, but you do want to try and hit that full throttle, and Murph does a pretty good job of doing so. Into the longest DRS straight, I believe it's the longest, I'm just saying that. To the hard braking chicane of 8 and 9. Once again, another area to really attack curbs. And I personally would get a little bit more of that final curb to head up the hill to that swooping right-hander of turn 10. And it'll be a long right-hander. It starts here and it continues until this final little swoop here, and where it cuts back hard on a nice little hairpin. Down and up. Taking a little bit tighter of an angle on the exit of 11. Not wanting to touch the curb on turn 12, that's probably a smart idea. And we take the final second last right-hander of the circuit into the last swooping left-hander and into the hard cut back right. Extending that as much as possible, getting on the DRS as early as possible and over the line for what the slowest lap so far. Interesting. I'm not sure what was to be had there. But Scavney goes over the line quicker than Murph. Hash behind on an outlap. Jin just behind Ryan Rods. So we're going to see Ryan Rods over the line on mediums. He goes second fastest behind Scavney. Matt Rosie to follow. You're going second behind Scavney as well. Jin in fourth. Scuba Steve's crashed out. Ouch. Who's that? Yulmir? Yulmir it is. Yulmir goes quickest, first driver into the 129s. Hell go over the line in sixth. First Haas to start a hot lap. Elma Jacko on the mediums as well, finishing up his first hot lap. First Aussie over the line, I believe. Not first international, though. Jacko goes just behind Helg. The second McLaren of Smith Pell finishing up as well. Or OC. OC? French? Yeah, maybe. There we go. Smith Pell on the softs, going ahead of his teammate on the mediums. Cake Thomas first. Red Bull over, going second, just behind Yulmir, sorry. Hash, the second Ferrari to come over the line. Just behind is Sui to start a hot lap. And Impossible Bacon is the last of this group to put a time over, with Hash going 6, just behind Matt Rosie on the mediums. Impossible going on the mediums to start as well. So now a podium can be within reach for a lot of drivers today. Now, we're obviously expecting some of the quicker guys like Jin and Ryan Rods, Hash, Matt Rosie to get one, but you never know what can happen here in Paul Ricard, especially with Mystic not being here. With Mystic not being here, that virtually opens up another spot on the podium for someone. So someone's 4th places could turn into a 3rd today, and Impossible Bacon goes 8th, just behind Ryan Rods, with Sui next over for a hot lap. With the yellow flag in Sector 3. Sorry, Scuba Steve actually has a qualifying ban. I forgot about that. I shouldn't have, because I was actually the steward that posted the results of the steward decision for the qualifying ban. Is that just hanging out over there? Smith Pell. Our first AlphaTauri is going to start their hot lap. The second one is just in the early stages of Sector 3 here. So Dace coming into turn 1, while Sui finishes up the final turn. Sui comes over in 8th place right now. Super Ninaz representing the L Plan. And here we go. Final couple turns for Super. Both AlphaTauris on a hot lap. And really getting up on the final curb there. The Super Ninas. We'll see where he goes. Looking to get into the early 130s would be good. She goes into the mid 130s just ahead of Sui. Yellow flag in Sector 1 with the Williams and the McLaren. We're on board right now with Dace, who's going to finish up and go first, just ahead of Yulmir. The quickest time right now. Several drivers coming out for their second attempt. JC Blackley coming through Sector 3 here. Got a couple turns left to go. 15 total turns makes up Paul Ricard. You could argue that there could be more turns, but it's just, I don't get how they make turns. I mean, it's any sort of change of direction, or is believe what the technical what's in the rule book on how a turn is made up. But I still don't get it. There's some turns that look like they're turns, and some turns that aren't listed as turns. And I feel like Paul Ricard is one of those places that has some areas that could be turns that aren't turns. Ryan Rod's invalid, so he won't push the rest of this out. Scavney, maybe? No, not Scavney. Yulmir. Yulmir goes purple through Sector 1. We got JC, Ryan Rod's valid, Helg. Helg is starting a hot lap. McLaren both on out laps. Pits of Ferrari, of Hash, AlphaTauri, Mercedes, of Scavney, I believe that is, next to come over the line here. Currently up on his time right now. Looking to try and claim back quickest time here. Now we'll see what Matt Rosie's going to be able to do. Highest driver up right now on the mediums. Ryan Rod's just in behind, so those two are touted for fastest lap if they decide to switch over to the softs, or are they going to ride out the mediums. Scabney does improve, but just barely misses out on fastest lap here. And is that Jacko? Oops, that's not what I'm looking for. Is that Jacko? No, that is teammate of Jacko, Yolmir here, coming over the line. And Yolmir takes back fastest lap from Days. Will Ann's first time set for him, going 9th. Ryan Rods is into the pit, so his teammate Gina to win it now. On the mediums, it invalidates on the final corner. And you saw it, I saw it, he just took a little bit too much of that. And yeah, that's just how tight it can get. Here we go, Jacko improves up to 5th. And I believe that's Detail, his first time, 131.138. And Matt Rosie, yes, Matt Rosie improves on his mediums up to 6th. Kate Thomas about to start a hot lap. Hash next to come over the line in the Ferrari, and I believe that's Scabney, but Scabney's already taken a go, so then it'll be Sui who's on out. Hash does barely improve up to 7th. Jacko or Yol. Here we go, a little bit more team play. The two Haas's are setting up for a tow down the pit straight. Still got to be sure that Impossible can get a good launch out of turn 1. Actually, oh, both are going to come to the pit here. Jin's invalid on the mediums. Just gonna save that ERS and come around for another go. Looks like the two McLarens are setting up for a tow. No, they're also just gonna bomb into the pit. Cake is going to give us a new time, though. What can he do? Can he get into the 129s? Looks like he has a little bit of a missed shift there coming out of the final turn. And he's just going to barely miss out on the 129s. Barely misses out on improving on his lap also. And Dace is going to start his second hot lap with Ferrari of, I imagine, Murph and Selly to start a hot lap also. Hash comes into the pit, so next to give us a time here is Sui, looking to hold down the Alfa Romeo fort. Seeing how Mystic Joker is gone, and as well as the backup, Shelly the Turtle, absent. And Sui does improve on his time, jumps all the way up into 9th place. Very well done from Sui, going up into the top 10. Excuse me, Sui is somewhat known for not having the best of qualifying, but is very consistent when it comes race time, and that is where he makes up all of his points. So Days going purple through Sector 2 here. He's looking to claim back the top spot away from Yolmir. There we go. Dace does take it back. Beats out Yolmir by just over a 10th. Scabney to start his final attempt. Looks like Murph and Sally comes over the line in 17th with some mediums. It's weird watching this without Mystic being here. Yeah. Yeah, it sucks, that's for sure. But now, to be honest, it gives some other people a chance to get on the podium, like I said earlier, so it's a rough go, but these guys are starting to get closer and closer to, they're constantly nipping at his heels. But we'll see who comes out on top without him today. I believe it's Scavney next over with a hot lap. Or no, sorry, Ryan Rods. Ryan Rods has actually switched to the softs here, so where's he going to go? I didn't catch any of his times leading up to this. And he jumps up into the top spot, just beating out Dace. Wow, that was close. But now we got Scavney, who's down on his time right now, but he needs to bite a big chunk off in Sector 3. And it looks like he gets a little bit too hot there and can't quite get it done. He will be able to get around track for one more attempt. Or is he just going to let it loose right now? It looks like he is. He does have time, but to each their own. Maybe feeling like now is the best. Helgray now all the way down in 18th place. Has slowly been kind of shoved down while everyone else has been putting some times out with some softs. He is going to set his time now with some softs, and we'll see what he can do. Possible in Murph and Sally both edged him out on the mediums, but he is at a tire disadvantage to quite a few of the drivers ahead, and you can see the difference there as he jumps up all the way to 5th, going right behind his teammate Scavney. We have the McLaren of Matt Rosie coming over on some softs as well, and he's actually going to go for his hot lap now. And now they're going to start flying in. El Majaco goes 5th. JC Blackley starts a hot lap. Kate Thomas starts a hot lap. Some drivers into the pit. That's okay. Just trying to stay on things. Is that Impossible Bacon? Impossible Bacon to come over the line, way down, way up on his time right now after switching to the softs, and he'll go 5th. Qualifying is officially in the book, so everyone's laps will count now. Ryan Rods currently holds at a 129.322. Smith Pell cannot beat it. Super Ninas, sorry, that was Detail, cannot take it down. Yolmir, what can Yolmir do? Does he have enough? No, just misses out. Sitting 3rd right now. Still have some really quick drivers out there who can set a time. Speaking of, Matt Rosie's way down on his time right now. Way up, sorry. Not wanting to go for the 10th place medium start. Instead, goes for the final go on the softs to see where he can end up. Will he get into the 129s? Yes, he does, and actually slows up to go 5th. Interesting. I don't know why I catch all the shithousery on this broadcast. Still have to be here and support Sui. Of course. 100%. JC Blackley goes 14th. Can't quite get much more pace out of the softs. Kate Thomas goes 6th. Now Super Nina's looking to get into the top 10 with Hash to follow. Super going 11th, Hash going 8th, Impossible 7th, Willands is glitched. That's the end of qualifying here. So Ryan Rods looks like he just steals it away from Dace. Yolmir and Scavney will line up 3 and 4. Matt Rosie and Cake Thomas in 5 and 6. Impossible and Hash on the 4th row, with Jacko and Helg in the final row of the top 10. Looks like we're only going to have 19 here this evening. Scuba Steve is going to be lining up the back of the pack with the option of tires, seeing how he got the qualifying ban last week. Do not count him out of this race. He still has a potential shot at a podium here. Anything can happen at Paul Ricard with the walls and just the attacking of the curbs, the availability for battles between all these drivers. It can create for a little bit of chaos. And there we go, the final qualifying order. Once again, Ryan Rods and Days, Yolmir and Scavney and Matt Rosie, Cake Thomas, Impossible Hash, Jacko and Helg, Super Ninas, Sui, Will Ans, JC Blackley, Detail, Jin, Murph and Selly, and Scuba Steve are the final to round out the order. Ooh, a little dark and dreary here. We've seen some better weather in Paul Ricard in races past, and we've also seen some wet weather races here in Paul Ricard. Now, my first ever race in Formula One, the game, in the wet, was at Paul Ricard. I remember that because I felt like I did really well in it. But now, of course, that was at a time when I was playing on like 60 difficulty, and I was just absolutely lighting it up. Then you start turning up the difficulty a little bit as you go on and on and on, and then things get far tougher. But there we go, formation lap to come, and then the race to follow. So once again, I'm hoping everyone is joining their Thursday. If you're new to the stream and you haven't been around here before, by all means, go check out our sponsor, Raise Energy, and get 15% off by using code MWF1. Now, they're actually a booming brand. Like, this isn't like just like some small town company that's just happy to support us. Like, they're doing very well, and if you try their stuff, you will see why they're doing so well. On new flavor drops and everything, they sell out within the day. So if that doesn't tell you anything, then go check out for yourself. They have some quality stuff. I've tried it and really enjoy it. Some guys drink it during their work day. That race with us. So you don't know until you try. Go give it a go. It's some quality stuff. So hopefully you enjoy it, as well as our new sponsor, APOS or EPOS. EPOS. I gotta fix that. 1 second. For whatever reason, I got into a groove of calling it APOS, but it's actually EPOS. What is EPOS? Well, EPOS is the gaming brand of Sennheiser. Sennheiser? Yeah, Sennheiser. Sennheiser is quality stuff. So be sure to check that out if you have any interest in some high quality gaming equipment. I'm going to be ordering nothing like oversleeping. Oh, Shelly. I'm going to be ordering myself a new mic, so you'll be able to hear my voice far better. Now, will that be a good thing or a bad thing? Only one way to find out, so we will see when that happens. So hopefully you guys go check that out. Once again, that is Raise Energy and EPOS and gaming EPOS gear. So if you're any bit interested in what it is, then just put in sponsors into the chat there, and the commands to bring up both of them will come out. But without further ado, Circuit Power Card Race Week 4, 5, 4, 4, no, what's the title? Race Week 5 is to come. So everyone is back from their the qualifying is done. Formation lap is done. Ryan Rods, as you can see up at the front row. Dace second alongside him. Yolmir and Scavney might have a chance into turn 1 with Matt Rosie just on the outside looking in. And here we go. The lights are out. And Cake Thomas looks like he gets a much better run than Matt Rosie right out of the gate. But Matt's got the inside line. Ryan Rods holds it off into turn 1. Cake's got to go around the outside. Matt Rosie's trying to keep his nose clean. And Cake is able to get the position. Dace already a half a second back of Ryan Rods, but that should close down. We'll see what happens here through Sector 1. Any chaos. Helg and Smith Pell are tight knit through the end of Sector 1, but it looks like, oh, Smith Pell goes a little bit off. Helg is able to hold the position. Will Ants tries to dive down the inside line. Murph and Selly just on the outside looking in. And Hash is able to hold on to 8th place, but he's got Elma Jacko in his sights here. We'll pull up these two bad boys. Trying to drag him down into turn 8 and out breaks him, has to go right over the curb. And Jacko has the inside line, but Hash, spins out. I didn't see any contact there. I think that was au natural, and he's back down into 19th place. Scuba Steve picking up several positions, already up in 15th place after restart. Murph and Selly's right on his tail. Dace as well right on the tail / gearbox of Ryan Rods as we finish up Sector 2, or sorry, we're actually in Sector 3. It threw me off a little bit there. But these two still battling it out. We'll check the position changes off of race start. Like I said, Scuba Steve picking up some positions. 4 so far with Jin picking up 3, Detail 3 also. Will Ants taking up 3 positions, going from 14th to 11th off of race restart. Cake Thomas and Matt Rosie switching positions, while Jack was picked up 2 with Impossible dropping 1. And a lot of these other guys getting a couple of extra positions from the Hash spin. But he's not too far out, only 2 seconds back of Sui. This conga line is still fairly tight after lap 1. Impossible doesn't want to let Jacko get too far up the road. We'll bring up the tire compounds here. The top 9 are all on the softs. Hash as well was on the softs, but it looks like everyone else other than Detail has opted for the harder compound strategy out of the gate. Smith Pell the highest up with the mediums right now with Will Ants. Just in behind also Murph and Selly, the only driver to go on with the hards. He's slowly falling back of Scuba Steve, so that'll be a tough ask to try and keep pace so early on these hards. JC Blackley and Sui somewhat trapped a little bit by Murph and Selly. They need to try and overtake him or hope that he gets on with it so that they don't lose pace from the field above. Here we go, it's Impossible now looking at the inside line of Jacko trying to take the shorter way around turn 11. But Jacko fights off the pressure well, doesn't feel any much, and Jacko taking a little bit wide of a line, and Impossible Bacon almost looked to have Hamiltoned him. By Hamilton, I mean Hamilton in Brazil. And Smith Pell? What happened to Smith? Smith has spun off now. He's back on track and didn't really catch that spin. DRS is now open. Hash gets Sui on those mediums. He's got to hope he can overtake as many of these medium compound tire runners as early as he can with before they fall off. And there you go, gets another one, gets Scuba Steve. And Scuba's actually lost a couple of positions. I didn't catch exactly what happened to him there. Maybe a little bit of damage to his wing. Dace is so very close, and as well as Yolmir. Ryan Rod's looking to give up the lead for the first time in this race. Dace going all the way around the outside here of turn 11. They kind of go neck and neck a little bit, changing positions. Dace does a good job to stay close to Ryan Rod's here, but Ryan Rod's is going to go deeper on the outside. A little bit of contact between these two drivers, but Ryan Rod's is going to get the position back. The battle took about 3 corners for it to settle down, and Ryan Rod's came out on top. Dace fought that one hard, but it was Ryan Rod's who set himself up from the beginning with his position on track in defense, and is now going to try and hold on here, but the DRS is really helping Dace here, and Dace has a little bit of a look into turn 1, but nothing quite going. Here we see Helg actually right on the back of Elma Jacko. Jacko is saved by the DRS of Impossible Bacon. It's Impossible looked like he got through Jacko at one point. Didn't end up catching that on stream. Murph and Selly, I believe, yeah, he just got overtaken by JC Blackley here, and maybe trying to poach that position back. But if you can follow JC Blackley's slipstream as well as DRS, it won't be the worst thing in the world to allow him to go ahead. These hards sometimes are a bold decision, and once again we got back to a position change. Dace looks like he actually gets it done this time on Ryan Rods, but isn't able to shake him too far out of the corner. Now him and Yolmir are in the slipstream of Dace as we enter the hard right-hander of turn 11. But Dace is a little bit farther up the road this time than Ryan Rods was last, so not as hard of a defense Dace will have to do. He's able to take a clean racing line, as Ryan Rods isn't going to attempt any sort of overtake this time. And Will Ans and Jacko going at it here. Helg was able to get ahead of Jacko, and now Will Ans is trying to go around the outside, but gets pushed right off track and comes back on just behind Jacko. Impossible Bacon's the first to come into the pit after 3 laps. Now Jacko may be under trouble here. Impossible slides to the inside line here, and he's got him done out on pace, and he's able to take the position cleanly into turn 1. So Murph and Selly has been able to stay close to JC Blackley here. I wonder if he's going to be able to maybe attempt a re-overtake at some point. Into the slipstream with the help of DRS. Detail now trying to take over Jacko. And Will Ans is nearly having to defend 2 drivers at once. And Detail is able to get around the outside of Jacko. Now Jin is going to try and work at Jacko here. Jacko softs maybe just falling off some very quickly. Oh, now Jin slides up the inside line on Jacko and is able to get the move done as Jin goes up into the top 10 now. And Dace flies into the pit, Yolmir as well. Ryan Rod stays out. So here we go, Impossible somewhat undercutting everyone here. Back to Will Ans, and Will Ans trying to work on Dace, or on Detail now. Jin as well, countrymate of Will Ans, just behind. Hash picks up his first penalty of the evening, second of the race, entirely from the lobby. Super neat has to get past Jacko now. Will Ans now trying to follow Detail through turn 11. Maybe thinking about a lunge in 12. Now this is where we saw a lovely move by Jin on Jacko last lap, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen here for Will. Cakes into the pit. Ryan Rod stays out. I'd imagine we're looking at 2 stoppers here. Jacko picking up the first speeding in the pit lane penalty, so that's going to hurt. Now here we go. Will's getting really fast. He's going to get himself alongside Detail into turn 1, and Detail can't quite defend. And now Jin looking to pounce on Detail as well. Detail on the verge of losing 2 positions in a couple of corners, but does a good job of holding off Jin. And now he's going to try and follow Will Ans through the end of Sector 1 here, so we can get some DRS heading up into turn 8, and it looks like he's going to be able to get the job done, but he's still got Jin. And if Jin can get a good launch, but no, Jin a little bit too heavy on the throttle and just loses it. Waiting for traffic to clear. He picks himself back up in 9th place. Really rough go there, and Will Ans taking an aggressive defense on Detail there. Really blocking the inside line, and Detail nearly had the outside lined up there, but Will came back into the racing line, which forced Detail to have to hold off. So Murph and Sally still sitting on the back of JC Blackley here. Hash, Detail, Scabney, and Ryan Rod still yet to pit. We'll see if they come in now. Or are they going for 1-stoppers? If so, they might have to ride these out a little bit longer. I'd probably say around 10 or 11 laps. Another yellow flag, and that is another spin by Jin. And he's back down into 15th place. And Cake Thomas as well was off, but he's on some fresh mediums. Interesting enough. And we see some medium tire runners setting the fastest laps of the race. So net first place after all the drivers ahead to pit right now is Dace. Dace is being followed by Yolmir, who's being followed by Matt Rosie. These 3 drivers seem to be on the same strategy. As of right now, we'll see if there's any sort of undercut later on when they come in for their second stint. But here we go. Yolmir is looking for an overtake on Dace. He's into the slipstream, gets a really good run out of turn 9. Turn 7, and gets the full overtake coming into turn 8. Up into 9th place goes Yolmir. Dace back in 10th. Matt Rosie just sitting, looking on in 11th. Now here we go. Detail still following Will Ans. We'll see if he comes into the pit anytime soon. Scavney and Ryan Rod still holding out as well. Dace is really tight onto the back of Yolmir. We'll take a look at the interval between the leader and these drivers behind. So right now that gap sits at 18.5, and it looks like it's coming down every turn. So these mediums are far quicker, and Ryan Rod's in Detail finally coming to the pit, with Scavney staying out and holding on to net lead. Now from what I remember, the 1-stop medium to softs is viable, but you got to be really kind to your tires. Here we go. Dace looking at an overtake back on Yolmir, and Jin is out of the session. But the VSC comes out. So I'm not exactly sure where. But there you go, full VSC. So Cake just pitted for a fresh set of hards. No one can really take advantage of a cheap pit stop here. Everyone else is on the wrong side of the track. So the VSC will come in. Or actually no, so Sui will take advantage. He will come in, but it won't make up as much time as he was hoping, as the VSC should be ending fairly soon. And yes, muted is correct. I was drinking my water. Thank you very much, Mother Ellie. Appreciate that. So here we go. Matt Rosie getting really close to Dace, and Dace looking at a overtake on Yolmir, and Matt's just got to sit back. Matt, though, is saving up quite a bit of ERS. So he's a guy that is going to have to try and do something. He's just not quick enough to get an overtake on either Yolmir and Dace, but is overall quicker, and this is not good because Ryan Rods, who was the initial race leader, is on some fresh mediums and is trying to hunt down this pack up ahead. But the little battling that these three drivers are doing is just helping out Ryan Rods and closing the gap. Yes, Ryan Rod slowly closing that gap. Smith Pell not too far off the pace of Impossible Bacon, with Impossible having far fresher mediums. Smith Pell still yet to pit this race. Same goes for Murph and Selly and JC Blackley, with Murph right on the tail of JC Blackley. And maybe these mediums are starting to tail off a little bit. Oh, thank you for the follow there, Edgar. I didn't. Guadalupe. I didn't see that. Appreciate that. Oh, Yolmir now going around the outside here as this lead pack is caught. These backpack of the drivers just still yet to pit, so this is a very important overtake for Yolmir, and this is huge for Matt Rosie. Oh, Matt Rosie looking to get a position on Dace, gets very dangerously up on that curb. But Murph and Selly and JC Blackley are very tight. JC Blackley is still leading this pack right now, and he's slowing them down, as Ryan Rods is slowly catching up to these drivers, and Matt Rose is in a really tough position. Dace looking to get across ahead of Murph and Selly, but the DRS train is helping him, and Yolmir, very importantly, goes up ahead of JC Blackley. So I imagine JC's trying to hold up Murph, but he needs his teammate to try and clear Murph so he can let him go, because every corner that JC takes and he holds up his teammate with Murph and Selly and Matt Rosie caught behind is just so detrimental to Dace's attempt at a win here. And it's almost as if JC Blackley needs to let Murph and Selly go through. He's, nearly blocks off Murph and Selly. Matt Rosie clears JC Blackley as well. Murph is going to battle out Dace, and Dace actually takes a penalty in doing so. Murph and Selly can sense that this is as well hurting his race also, with him still not pitting. These drivers that are coming past him have already pitted. But very importantly, Murph and Selly is able to clear JC Blackley, and Ryan Rods has not yet been able to, and a little bit of contact between Dace and Matt Rosie. But they settle things out now with Matt Rosie going ahead, and now Matt's going to try and close the gap on Yolmir, and these guys need to end this battle quick before Ryan Rods clears JC and Matt Rosie. JC actually comes to the pit. Murph and Selly now is going to try and hold up Ryan Rods, but Ryan Rods is just going to clear him fairly easily. I don't think Murph is going to be able to fight defense much longer. And yeah, no, he's going to hold on. And I was just going to try and follow these race leaders through and catch as much DRS as he can as they break off into the distance. Now, very important here. Matt Rosie is nearly able to extend the gap, and there he does. He just is able to extend the gap on Dace above a second. Dace just able to get DRS, but he is in some major trouble here with Ryan Rods. Ryan gets DRS, and it has the slipstream on Dace. Dace has no help from the slipstream on Matt up ahead, but Dace was just far up ahead and able to hold on to 4th place, but he's going to be under trouble here. Scavney nearly getting position on Apostle Bacon. Apostle's forced into a really poor line to turn 8. Does a decent job of correcting it through turn 9. But Scavney on the fresher mediums has just got the power down and is able to take the inside line coming into the big right-hander of turn 10. And Impossible has to slot back into 8th. Yolmir is now trying to clear Will Ans. Hash picking up a penalty. Yolmir is able to get through on Will Ans. Matt Rosie needs to try and clear Will. Will is on some older mediums here. Matt can't allow Yolmir to get too far up the road. Matt's able to hold Dace and Ryan Rods outside of VRS, so very important here. Will Ans is actually looking to scrap back a little bit on these old mediums. Maybe looking at a one-stopper so it feels directly in competition with these two drivers. But now Will is going to be under a little bit of pressure from Matt Rosie here. Yellow flag for Matt Rosie's teammate Smith Pell. Looks like he has lost it around turn 8 and 9 there. Picks himself back up and still holds 16th place. Will actually misses out on DRS, or he just not activated. Okay, he didn't actually activate it. Wanted Matt Rosie to clear him. And now Yolmir majorly picking up a penalty, so that vaults excuse me, Matt and Will up into 1st and 2nd place. We're over halfway through this race. It's absolutely flown by. A lot of high quality racing and battles have taken place. Cake Thomas seems to have lost it a little bit there, but picks himself back up. Unfortunately, he's all the way back into 17th place, not the race that he was hoping for. Ryan Rod's now right back on this battle here. Of course, himself as well, sitting with no penalties. Matt Rosie's going to try and clear Yolmir. Is he going to attempt it? Going into the hard right-hander of turn 11? The hairpin? No, he won't. Yolmir still holds 1st place, but Matt, he's got the pace and he's looking like he's going to be able to break off into the distance if he's going to be able to overtake. Smith Pell far more, with far less ERS than Matt Rosie's sitting with right now. Matt Rosie's looking at some clean lines here and maybe a potential overtake into turn 1. Not sure. Yolmir does a good job in the final couple of turns and is able to hold off. And yeah, Matt Rosie's going to have to sit back in 2nd for a little bit longer. But importantly, Ryan Rods does not clear Will Ans either, so Matt Rosie still has a chance to get it done here. Possible Bacon getting close to Scavney on 1 lap fresher tires. Then Dace, and oh, very important now, Matt Rosie picking up his first 3-second time penalty. And now Will Ans loses ERS or DRS from the 2 drivers ahead, so Ryan Rods is now licking his lips into the slipstream. ERS deployed, DRS deployed, and through he goes. And now Matt Rosie can't get past Yolmir either, so this is major now. Matt Rosie just being held up by Yolmir a little bit too much, can't quite get past. GSR, Ryan Rods just outside of 2nd, no DRS, can be helped for the last bit of this lap, but he surely will be able to catch up for the next DRS section in the sector 1 and coming into turn 1. Matt Rosie's really got to try and get an overtake on Yolmir here. This is really tough for Matt. And yeah, you can see that gap starting to close down for Ryan Rods now. I'd like to know what these drivers' tires are on. Unfortunately, we can't do the slow-mo. And Yolmir flies into the pit. Matt Rosie is going to get the aid of DRS for the final time. Ryan Rods is just in behind as well, getting DRS. So now Matt Rosie is not slowed up at all, so we'll see what the difference between these two drivers and 3 laps of newer and older tires will do. But Will Ans does a very good job holding off and for softs, and he's actually going to softs with 10 laps to go. Maybe his mediums were kind of falling off. But yeah, softs is going to be tough to get to the end of this race. You can see the tire wear for a lot of these drivers. No one's pushing it above like 13 laps. And we've seen mediums go 20 laps in other tracks. And Matt Rosie actually works Ryan Rods out of DRS here. So Matt Rosie somewhat attempting an overcut here on the drivers behind. But now the major question is Scavney going to try and ride these things to the end? Impossible Bacon was one of the first drivers to pit for fresh tires. And I'm not sure how much he's struggling on these mediums. Will Ans for the fresh softs. He should be able to overtake Super Ninas fairly elementary, my dear Watson. And yes, he does get that move done and dusted. Oh, does Ryan Rods get DRS? I don't know. It doesn't look like he does. No activation is coming up. He did work himself within a second, but not at the right time. Scuba picking up his penalty, going into the pit now. The race of strategies has really come out here. Hash is back up in 8th after that early spin. Cake Thomas losing it again. This is not the track, not the race that he was hoping for. Ryan Rods looks like he got a little bit of aid from the DRS there. We'll see if Matt Rosie is going to try and extend this one at the end. I imagine he's going to come into the pit pretty quick for some softs. If not. I think he'll attempt 7 laps or so with these softs. If maybe 8 laps. He's going to stay out. Ryan Rods as well stays out. Possible is kind of getting to that position as well. He might need to come into the pit soon, but it's tough to pit to lose track position. But the way his strategy is set is that he needs to absolutely baby the living heck out of these mediums to get him to the end. He's currently on 14 lap old mediums. With every lap, that percentage of wear goes up and up and up. And at one point, they just go. They blow and your positions are gone. So here we go. Ryan Rod's really closing the gap to Matt Rosie now. Maybe these 3 lap difference in tires are really coming through. Murph and Sally picking up a penalty in 12th place. Detail getting over here. Oh, Yolmir. Sorry, Yolmir getting detail. Or maybe, one second. Detail getting Yolmired. That one still works. This Are you able to tell the wear in my throat right now? My throat feels like it's on fire. But I'm gonna keep trucking. I have like I can sense like the slight difference in my voice. And there we go, Matt Rosie and Ryan Rod's finally into the pit. Both are gonna come onto the softs, yes. So like I said, around 8 laps, these softs, to run the rest of this race. Are they gonna come out ahead of Yolmir? Is the true question though. And no, they won't. Yolmir's gonna jump up ahead, as well as Hash, but Hash could just turn into a hindrance, and Matt Rosie just is able to split. Did Ryan Rods get a time penalty? He must have. But Matt Rosie picks up another penalty now, sitting with 6 seconds. He's still got a long ways to go here. Yolmir's quite a bit of a ways up the track, and now with having a little bit of cushion, having only 1 3-second time penalty, where currently Matt's sitting with 2. So 3 seconds, and as well as 4 seconds currently separates Yolmir and Matt Rosie. With detail in between, of course, but Matt Rosie should be able to close the gap fairly quickly to these drivers ahead. Dace now, not sitting in the worst positions. He is trying to go around the outside line of Hash, but Hash is just going to make things ever so difficult. Jacko and Murph battling it out. And Murph looks like he gets it around the outside, but Jacko tries to slot back through. Helg will come into the pit. And Murph ushers his way up into 12th place, with Jacko back down into 13th. I think Impossible is going to try and ride this one to the end. Same with Scavney. At this point now, I think pitting is not the way to go. These two are going to try and ride this one out. We have Smith Pell. No, Matt Rosie's off. What happened to Matt? He still had a potential shot, an outside chance at the win, but unfortunately with that spin, it was not looking good. Will Ant set to have a really nice day as well, moving up quite a few positions. And Impossible is right on the tail of Scavney, but I don't think he's going to want to try and battle him so quickly. Ryan Rods goes through on Will, and now Ryan Rods is going to try and still work his way back up, but 10 seconds separates himself and the pack up ahead. And Ryan Rods gets right up on the edge. Hash left him just barely a car length, or a car width, sorry. But Ryan Rods is able to clear and go up into 5th. Now the major question is Impossible Bacon's mediums going to be able to last out? Now I haven't seen if he had much battling on these mediums throughout the race. But definitely if you can get into a groove and not overwear, then you've got a chance. Scavney seemingly having it all lined up for him to collect a win here in France. Now we're going to knock on some wood here. Don't want to create any sort of commentator's curse. As well, he's starting to break away from Impossible Bacon. And Impossible's got to be really careful because he's only got 3 seconds back to Yolmir, who's on far fresher mediums with nothing really at all to lose. 3 seconds of penalties. So things can still happen. Ryan Rods is able to clear Dace. And you can see the major differences of strategies that have come out here. Virtually everyone is on a different strategy right now, or at least different time that pit. You can only see 2, maybe 3 drivers that are on the same tire with the same lap right now. Right now, everyone is just so different on how their approach was for this race. And Helg's going to try and overtake JC Blackley here. He's got the major tire advantage on him here. Helg actually picking up a 3-second time penalty, getting a little bit too over-aggressive. Will Ans is able to get Hash. Matt Rosie takes fastest lap, as he's going to try and work himself back ahead of Hash. Helg will get the fairly routine overtake, and Matt Rosie, oh no, spins again, and that is just not what you want to see. See is Detail able to close the gap back down to JC Blackley. Matt Rosie gets himself back on track. I say that literally and figuratively. Hash is able to get Will Ans back. Will Ans is able to go through in the end. Hash sitting with 6 seconds worth of penalties, so right now he's going to drop back behind his teammate. Yolmir right on the back of Impossible Bacon, and I think Impossible actually allows him through. He knows that battling Yolmir right now is not what's best for his strategy overall, and he's got to turn around and take a peek at the driver behind too. You got Ryan Rods, the man who is able to collect pole with some far fresher softs and clean air ahead. So things are still sitting on the knife edge right now. And Impossible is really slowing down here. He does not want to overpush these tires. Scavney 3 seconds up the road on Yolmir, and with Yolmir's 3-second penalty virtually sitting 6 seconds up the road. So Scavney in a way can let Yolmir pass and still have the win. But Yolmir is going to close that gap, and as well, speaking of gap being closed, Ryan Rods has already taken a half a second off of Impossible Bacon. So Ryan Rods still with an outside shout at a podium, and that penalty to Yolmir might be extremely detrimental. And oh, what has happened to Will? Okay. Will's not getting some good Wi-Fi connection right now. Matt Rosie gets the overtake on JC Blackley. Detail is closing the gap as well to JC Blackley. Matt with 6 seconds worth of penalties. But wow, Ryan Rods has already closed that gap to Impossible. Impossible's just doing everything he can to not make these tires blow. 19 laps deep on these mediums. Scavney now really struggling also. Impossible virtually lets Ryan Rods through. Also cannot overwear these tires at all. Cake Thomas DNFs, and is that, please don't. Please just clear the, don't bring out the VOC or anything. And then you can see Cake Thomas out of the session, and I don't think it's going to bring out the VSC. It's been out long enough. I imagine they're going to clear it. And yes, thankfully, it allows this race to continue, as this race has absolutely flown by here. We are on lap 25 of 27. Scavney has got the lead, and he's held it for quite a while now. Yolmir is going to try and overtake him, and then on top open up a 3-second gap. He's got Ryan Rods chasing him as well, but Ryan Rods' tires are starting to fall off a little bit. Those softs, we saw people pitting around lap 7, lap 8. These are fresher softs than what people were starting the race with. But Impossible, oh my goodness gracious. I had imagined that this guy is just living on the edge right now of his tires. He has been losing so much time to all the drivers that have overtaken him. You have to imagine that these things are on the potential to blow, or else he'd be pushing them a lot harder. but it's Yolmir and Scavney. Yolmir is able to clear Scavney. And now he's got 2 full laps to try and open up a 3-second gap or hope for a Scavney penalty. Scavney's just got to keep it clean and within 3 seconds. Dace gets through Impossible, and now Impossible sitting in 5th. Hash as well on 17 lap old hards, but those are all hards. Will Ann's now on some old softs. 9 laps is where these bad boys sit, and we'll see if Hash has actually got the tire advantage now. He might have the pace on Will Ann's, and currently Hash does sit with 9 seconds worth of penalty, so that's quite a bit. Helg now looking for an overtake on Ninas. He's got the inside line set up and gets the move done. Up in 9th place goes Helg. He's even got less penalties than the drivers ahead too, so he's looking to jump up another position after this race is over. But very importantly, we're coming through Sector 3, and Scavney is still within a second to Yolmir. He's got a little bit more life left on these bad boys, and he's going to ride these things out until the bitter end. Impossible now has found himself in a little bit of a gap here, sitting in between Hash and Dace. Dace has obviously driven off up the road, 3 seconds of time penalties. He should be able to clear that on Impossible and finish in 4th. Ryan Rod's looking to take the 3rd spot on the podium. Very importantly is Yolmir. If he can try and work, so close, it's teetering on the edge if Yolmir is going to get 2nd or 3rd right now. With 3 seconds of time penalties, it's all pending on Ryan Rod's and Scavney, and Ryan Rod's getting DRS on Scavney is huge. Scavney's win is potentially on the edge as well. Yolmir is now almost cleared Scavney for time penalty here. So now Scavney's got to defend Ryan Rod's as well as not allow Yolmir to get too far ahead, and it's going to come down to the final sector here. Ryan Rod's is on 7 lap old softs and Scavney on 17 lap old mediums. Scavney pushes him to the outside, is able to come back in, but here we go. Ryan Rod's is going to dive down the inside, and a little bit of contact between these 2 drivers. Scavney's trying to fight out, but the tire advantage takes. Oh my god, it's so very close. 3 seconds. It is so tight. Yolmir's got to try and open up another 10th on Ryan Rod's in the final sector here. Ryan Rod's has got clear air ahead of him. And there you go, that gap just opens up to 3 seconds. But is Ryan Rod's going to be able to close around the final turn? It's going to be so tight. How good of a run can Ryan Rod's get out of the exit? And I don't think it's going to do it. No, Yolmir's going to be able to hold off for the win. Ryan Rod's overtaking Scavney is what does it in the end. That brings Yolmir's first win in Midwest, I believe. Ryan Rod's gets another podium, and Scavney, if this race ended 1 lap sooner, he would have gotten 3rd. And these final finishing positions are settling themselves out. Impossible Bacon 23 laps deep on these mediums, able to hold off 5th. Dace in 4th. Will Ann's having a very good race, going he didn't qualify that well at all, going up into 6th place from 14th off of race start. Murph and Sally getting 9th, and we'll get, I don't think Murph did set a time. Just waiting for Sui to come over the line here, but there are your finishing results. Like I said, who's going to get that podium? And Yolmir is actually the one who gets the win, with Ryan Rod's and Scavney rounding out the podium. Of course, we'll bring them in for an interview. %97%? No way. That's messed up, dude. So there we go. 1/10 was the difference in the end. Yolmir just able to edge out Ryan Rods for the win. With Scabney coming third. Dace fourth, Impossible going for a crazy tire stint in fifth. Willans in sixth. Helg is able to get seventh place in the end with Detail and Murph and Sully 8th and 9th. Elma Jacko getting a top 10, excuse me, for fuck's sakes. Hash in 11th, JC Blackley 12th, Matt Rosie 13th, Super Ginas 14th, Scuba Steve 15th, Smith Pell 16th, Sui 17th, and DNFs to Cake and Gin. So we'll get some of these drivers in here. Okay, so it looks like we are going to get the guys in for an interview here. Alright. So everyone is in. I'm sitting up, so I guess we can move this camera a little bit here. I'm used to being back here, but we'll see. But yes, as you can see on your screen, we'll get the podium. Yolmi, Ryan Rod, Scapney, and Murph and Selly being the hardest charger, although that was a little bit of a different one because he did start 18th. So we'll hear about his qualifying and whatnot. If you have any questions for the drivers, be sure to post them in chat. I love to ask these drivers. It always is good to involve those that watch into the interview. So without further ado, we will get right into it. Alright. Hello everybody. Murph, how you doing? Oh, muted. Scavney, mic check. Yes, no. Is it me, maybe? Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Were you not able to hear
Yep.
me before? Whatever. Anywho, so, chat, can you let me know for sure that you guys can hear them? If not, then I'll fix it. I do know how to now. But yeah, Ryan Rods, you good? Mic's working?
Yeah.
Murph, I heard you. Scabney, I heard you. Yol, I heard you. Okay, we'll get right to it. We'll start with the race winner. Yolmir, I believe it is your first race win in Midwest, right?
And I don't remember. I think I got one too last season or season before.
I don't. How long have you been in Division 1 for?
Since season 2.
Okay, so I'm looking back here. No, this is your first win in Division 1 for Midwest.
I think yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I got confused.
Okay, no, yeah, well done. The reign of Mystic Joker is coming to an end. Of course, you couldn't, you know, battle it out, but still, an awesome race from you, man. You need to thank Ryan Rods and Scavney, because if it wasn't for them, then you wouldn't have had the win. But still, you did a great job in getting it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened? Let's start with qualifying. How'd your qualifying go?
The qualifying was real good. When I did my first shot, I got a purple first lap, and I was like, wow, I got time. I got good time today. And then on the second shot was the same thing. I got a purple again, and was real nice. So I believe I can be on the podium, but not for the win. Was
Yeah.
kind of fun.
I mean, yeah, you were flying and qualifying there. You were constantly battling with. I mean, it was just mainly between you three this entire race. Matt Rosie was in it, but then Matt had a spin, and then that kind of ended it for him. But you guys were all on different tire strategies, and was, I guess, with no safety cars or anything, was that your tire strategy from the beginning there, Yol, or did you have to change it up at all?
No, I was. I don't hope any safety car on this track because it's too wide. So
Hmm.
after the virtual safety car, I got a Jeff tell me if I want pit on lap 18. So I was thinking to extend it to lap 20 and use the soft. But
Okay.
I say the undercut were real nice on this track. So I prefer fight on the last lap because we may be on the same pace with the all soft and all mediums.
Yeah.
And I was lucky and worked. I mean,
Yeah. It definitely helped in the end. Now, were you kind of in the last little bit there? Um, we'll get on to first. You had that penalty, the 3 second, and that nearly did it in for you, but you won by a tenth in the end, which is why I said you should thank Ryan Rods and Scavney, because if it wasn't for Ryan Rods fighting Scavney, then Scavney would have come over for the win. And maybe if Ryan Rods was able to overtake Scavney a turn earlier, then Ryan Rods would have came over for the win. So if you should go back and check on how tight that was. And if anything, you actually outpaced Ryan Rods in the last like 4 turns um, with your older mediums to take that, because it was teetering on the edge and it was so very tight. But yeah, well done, man. Congratulations on your first win in Division 1 Midwest.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was watching the times and I see like three corners before. There was like 2.6 second, and I was like, I was hoping that Escabani can hold him for a little bit, on the corners because they are the slow corner. But when I saw he overtake him on the first try, so I used my overtake. Like I say, well, I spawn or I finish there.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, so you went all in.
Yeah, I was like on the last corner. As soon I started the straight, I got like 13% of ERS, and I used it all, and that was like 2.9 to 3.4 seconds, and then finished like I was watching the time was when it was like 2.5, 2.1, and then finished on one.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was kind of real nice. I will remember that lap
Yeah.
for a little bit.
It was very, very well finished. It capped off a very hard-fought race for you. Also, once again, congratulations and best of luck next week.
I appreciate it, man. I gotta go because I have to work tomorrow.
All
See you
good, man.
guys.
All good.
Thank you.
Now we'll get on to you there, Ryan Rods. Just missing out on what would have been a back-to-back win in Midwest. Now, of course, you won last week in Baku, which I heard was somewhat of a shit show. Um, and just missing out by 1/100th of a second here. Now, battling Scavney, if in that last little bit, what was going through your mind on that final lap when you were able to catch Scavney, and did you have knowledge that that Yolmir had that penalty?
Yeah, I did. Um, I just kept thinking I need to get past them really quick in a really in a way that I could just get past and keep going. But it was on the fast right-handers, so my front left overheated, and that's why I couldn't have the good pace at the end of the
Oh,
last like 3 corners. That front left was really dead.
So you were on 7 or 8 lap old softs, right?
Yeah,
So what percentages were they sitting at the end of there?
like 50.
Okay. Yeah, so Paul Ricard just absolutely chews tires. Impossible Bacon ended up with 22 lap old mediums to finish in 5th. It was just, yeah, but that's besides the point. Still a podium for you, back to back. Is that 3 in a row podiums for you now?
I don't really know. I know it's back to back, but what was the race before Baku?
Oh, okay. It was Suzuka, or no, sorry, not Suzuka.
No.
No, it was Monza. So yeah, this is you
Oh,
got a hat
yeah.
trick of podiums right now. So a turkey of podiums.
Yeah.
So now going to the Mexican Grand Prix next weekend, do you think you're going to be able to continue that?
Maybe, yeah. I just have to practice, improve my pace. I have to work on the track limits at that track. It's tricky.
Are you on wheel or controller?
Controller.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of tough that that little S section there can be really tough on controller. So yeah.
Yeah.
I know personally because I'm on controller as well, so it's it can be difficult. So now, when you're on a controller, are you on PS5 or 4?
4.
Okay. So the one thing that I find with the PS5 to the PS4 controller is that you can feel, with the adaptive triggers, you can feel the car spinning sooner than the PS4 controller. I mean...
Oh, that must be really good.
Yeah, honestly, it's nice. Especially because I'm like trash, so it helps. I couldn't compete in Division 1, but yeah. Yeah, so what about qualifying there? You went on a final stint of... Was your whole plan from the beginning to start on softs, or did you have any thought of maybe attempting a mediums tire top 10 start?
No, I always wanted to start on the softs. That last lap for pole I got was pretty bad. Didn't hit the apex like at 4 corners, just lost like 4/10 of my regular quality time. So it was a pretty bad lap, but it was enough.
It got the job done in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but second place, it's a tough one. You should go back and like watch that, like I told you, Olmir, because I mean, literally anything could have happened on any of the drivers, and it could have been a completely different result. So, very hard fought second place, man.
I don't know if you caught this, but entering the pits behind Will, just at the pit entrance, I braked a bit too late and hit him and broke my front wing, so I had to do the longer pit stop. Lost me a ton of time. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I did catch that. So that's what happened, eh? I was confused why you're so far back. Because you came in just behind Matt Rosie, and then he was like 3 cars up ahead, and you guys came back in like a terrible area, like right in a pack of cars as well. Then,
yeah, I had to do some pretty fast overtakes to catch up to the guys in front.
Yeah, but this was a great race, man. I mean, be proud of a second place. I mean, of course, with anything could have changed for you to have gotten the win. But if this race was 1 lap shorter, then Scavney would have had the dub. So, well done. Best of luck in Mexico, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah. Good night.
On to Scavney. Now, first podium. This is actually your second podium of the season. Oh my god. Scavney, no, I just realized that you were the one that got edged out by Mystic on the final turn in Suzuka.
I was, yes, that was me.
Oh man, dude. Just some heartbreak to start the season, man. What the hell?
I mean, I'll still take. It's been good and consistent points, but yeah, definitely wish it could have been a little bit more. But we'll take what we can get.
Oh my. Okay. Dude, another podium. Still very well done. You raced a really hard race. Was that tire strategy your strategy from the beginning?
It was. I went a little bit back and forth in the pre-race, but I figured it was, with how long the pit lane is around there and avoiding the traffic, I figured it was probably going to be the best if I could just make it work. So the first stint was all about conserving and just staying within the DRS so I didn't have to push, which worked out very well, better than I expected. It did get a little bit sketchy at the end, but we made it work.
Yeah, you did, and like I said, anything one lap sooner in that race was your win. You did
Yeah, it was tight. I kept watching that delta because I knew it was gonna be close. I actually let Yolmir by on the pit straight, hoping to stick with his DRS, but that didn't work as well as I expected it would. But
yeah, man. Oh God, throat, frog. But yeah, dude, you're gonna get that dub. Just keep fighting, keep putting in some solid laps. Keep your like, yeah, you're the better version of pork chops is what I labeled you as, right?
I remember that from a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, so keep that up. If pork chops can get if pork chops can get a podium in Division 3, you can definitely get a win in Division 1. So keep, keep was the hands to the grindstone, is that the saying? But yeah,
Something like that.
yeah, I believe in you, dude. Very well done. You had a high quality race. Good
Thank
qualifying
you.
as well. And but yeah, anyway, we're looking at Mexico next week. How do you think we're gonna look for Mexico with your results?
Well, I just had a race there a couple weeks ago. Had some decent pace, but probably middle of the road for me. But again, a lot can happen, so it's just about maximizing pace, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully. So you're a wheel, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have been.
Okay, so you got a little bit of the advantage in Mexico. I've my friend dead text message down in Division 3 or 4. He's got a wheel, and I was racing Mexico not too long ago, and it's far easier on the wheel than it is on the controller. I'll tell you that much.
For sure.
How long have you been racing wheel for, actually?
I think it's just over 3 years now.
3 years, wow. So how how many of these guys in Division 1 that do you know from other leagues? Because I know that you're pretty spread thin when it comes to this.
Quite a handful. I think I've raced probably about half the grid in other leagues, so definitely got a feel for them.
Yeah, you know those wily Haas drivers, the
Sure.
Brits in the Brits representing the American car.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'll leave you be. Congratulations again on the podium. You'll find that luck kind of turn your way soon. You didn't put a foot wrong from what I saw. So well done.
Thank you.
No worries, no worries. All right, on to Murph. Murph, I'm not gonna lie, you're somewhat here by default. You started 18th and then ended 9th. You technically
Yeah.
got hardest charger, but like, why was your qualifying so low?
So I went out on softs. The plan was to go to mediums, so I braked before I hit the line right at the end of my lap. Then nature called, and I had to run upstairs quickly to go to the washroom. Came back down, tried to put a lap in on mediums. Wasn't that fast, and then I didn't have time to go out again.
So as well, you weren't that fast in your second stint, as well as you weren't that fast going to the washroom and getting back to have yourself available for another stint.
No, but I had the stream open watching the time countdown.
Oh. That must have been. Oh god. Well, I mean, still hardest charger in the end. I mean, like I said, by default, you started 18th out of 19 drivers. Usually you can see a little higher up, fighting for a top 10 qualifying start. But I mean, still, 9th place finish. So what was your trick? You were the only driver to start on the medium or the hards, right?
Yeah. So we had a little discussion before the race, if it would be beneficial to start on the hards. I mean, I went for it. I committed to it, and it ended up playing off. After the front runners pit, the hards let me go up to P3. But then those guys with the fresh mediums caught up pretty quickly, lost a couple spots, ended up being a second slower than most people on the lap. So I decided to pit, go for the mediums, and try and go from there.
Yeah, I actually saw early on you were kind of you got overtaken by JC Blackley, and then you just kind of were able to piggyback off of his mediums for a couple laps until those mediums actually fell off, and then I believe you got the overtake on him like kind of later on into his stint, did you not?
Exactly, yeah. And then Super Ninez almost did the same to me at the end. He was keeping up with me with his hards. He was just piggybacking off of my mediums until they died off. Luckily, he didn't pass me, but Helg did get me. So
Yeah. So I mean, you weren't ever really in any sort of tire wear jeopardy, were you?
No, I think the hards went to about 46% before they started to feel crappy.
Oh, really?
And then I switched to the mediums, and I think I finished with 38% on the mediums.
So that's saying something, because Impossible Bacon sent me a picture of his mediums, and they are at 95 and 90% on the fronts.
Jeez.
Yeah, man, I don't know how he literally, like, a toenail on the track could have popped those things.
Yeah, I mean, I just did a 100% race on Tuesday. I went 38 laps on the mediums at Bahrain, ended it with 75%, and I was scared.
Oh my. Yeah, I know, right? Like, I feel like it, and it depends on the curb, because some curb can really bite it, and then they're gone. And then
Yeah.
some you can just ride them, and then they're just, it's like it's a flat asphalt, but
Yeah, I don't know
yeah.
what's different about Paul Ricard, but it just absolutely eats tires.
Oh, just choose them, man. The soft to medium was such a bold strategy, especially because Bacon came in after like lap 4 as well. So
Yeah, the softs were never in my plan. I wanted to stick away from those as much as I could.
fair enough. Yeah, quite a bit of 2-stop strategies went out. Scavney, I think, went to a 1-stopper, which kind of he did well to get himself the podium by doing that. So maybe consider it in the future then.
Yeah, knock on wood. I mean, I've been keeping my nose clean. That's 2 races in a row now. I don't think I've got any damage, so I've avoided some crashes, and hopefully the streak keeps going.
Even at Baku, I heard that was quite the adventure last week.
Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit more. I mean, that was rain. I don't chalk that one up for a little bit of damage. That's missing braking points, but whatever.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, well, thanks for coming in for the interview, man. Hopefully I can be talking to you when you're on the podium next time.
Well, if Mystic keeps sitting out, maybe that'll happen.
Well, speaking of, he's actually going through some tough times right now. He's in the hospital,
okay.
so.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, our best wishes from all the drivers in the league go out to Mystic. We had no idea that, or several of us had no idea, and I just actually been told that by Pork Shop. So, best of wishes from us at the whole league that he has a successful surgery tomorrow and is back to racing as soon as he is 100% healthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but thanks, Murph. I'll be talking to you soon, man. Enjoy
Sounds
your
good.
weekend and whatnot.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Bye. Okay, well, as you just heard, some unfortunate news that has come to the league. A very popular driver, probably their league's best driver, is in some hard times right now. So, like I said, best of wishes to him. Hope nothing but the best from everyone in this league. He's not just a good driver; he's also a really nice guy to talk to. And I know I'll be sarcastic a little bit with him in the interview, saying how I talk to him too much, which I do. And I do enjoy talking to a lot of other drivers, but anytime that he is in, he gives great insight on what happened in the race, and he brings a lot of quality things to say in the interviews after the race, as well as some high quality performances during the race. So he's missed, and we wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully that everyone that he needs is there for him, and of course anything that's needed from us we will provide. But yes, with that being said, that will bring end to our Division 1 race here this evening. It went absolutely flying fast. We're not even going to make a 2-hour stream. I'd maybe extend it on some other night, but if you can't tell, I'm getting a little bit of a throat frog here, so it's starting to get real croaky and sore, so I'm gonna have to kick it for me as well. But thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed everything that was on display. If you didn't catch it before, be sure to go check out our EPOS sponsorship for any high quality gaming gear, or well, mainly just headsets and mics right now, but maybe we can get something up there in the future. But yeah, go check that out if you're interested. Exclamation point EPOS in chat, and I'll bring you right up to the link for our connective store through their page on the interweb, so go check that out, as well as Raise Energy. Use MWF1 for 50% off your order. Some great stuff. It's just it flies off the shelves, so go check it out, enjoy it, and yeah, be sure to use MWF1 at checkout for 15% off. We'll be back Tuesday with Tuesday Team Racing. There you can see what is the updated standings and stats and past week schedule and upcoming schedule. So come out and support whoever you have in either of the teams. First race will be My Tires Are Dead versus Labatt's 3-pack, and then second race will be Super Bastards versus Crash's Asses. The battle of the profanities, if you will, and then Mark's Funky Bunch versus Ratio Racing in the end. So yeah, a lot to happen. So come check it out, and hopefully I'll be seeing you in chat next Tuesday. But with that being said, I've been Crash Queen. We've been the Midwest F1 League. Good flippin' night.